Okay, so here we are, back once again, live on the right angle cross of explanation, 1-3 profile. So if we begin with this cross of explanation, we begin with patience. Isn't that wonderful? The first line is patience, the recognition that new forms cannot be established until resistance has been eliminated. New forms. This is not about new ideas, new concepts, but new forms. And remember, the 43 is directly connected to the throat, and the throat is capable of ultimately manifestation. So what you have is the patient. Look, it's okay, we're going to die, but let's work on our structuring. If we can make things efficient, and nobody's better than this than the 1-3. When you're dealing with the cross of explanation, when you have a 1-3, it's not like you want any explanation from them early in their life. You have to let them go through the experimental process because of the depth of the first line personality, because of the need of the first line personality to be an authority, then having a 3 underneath. They will quickly get rid of faulty explanation, structures that cannot really work, and then they can be very, very inspiring. After all, it's an empowerment channel. They can be very empowering in terms of what we need to work on as a better form. So what we get from the 1-3 is that it begins to see that there are problems in the form, that they can be very, very good in terms of the health industry. They're very good in creating structures to maintain the viability of the human life. A 3 is more likely to recognize a new form faster than anybody else because they will bump into the whatever, into the people. You're walking along a road and there's something that doesn't belong there. It's the 3 that knows that because they bump into it. So in the 1-3 is this possibility to learn about developing the form. When I look at the hexagram, I'm often simply inspired by how they look. And the moment that you look at the structure of the 43 and you've got these 5 young lines and they've got this yin sitting on the top, if you watch the process, it gets heavier and heavier and heavier until you can see the whole creative force smack down just looking at it. So the 43 is the first one after the pure 60 yang lines. It's the first one to feel the pressure of the form. And not only does it feel the pressure of the form, but you can get that sucker off your back. It's there. The point is that the moment it's there, it's more powerful than all those yang lines because the form principle is the channeling forms for the energy. And it doesn't matter how powerful the river is, the river will obey the laws of form. It can do anything, but in there is a dam, and its way it will not go beyond it. It's going to have to deal with the consequences on the form. And whenever you're thinking about the 43rd hexagram, look at this image because it's such a compelling image. It tells you so much about the pain of the mutative process. It's this heaviness that's coming down on all this youngness, weighing it down, bringing it back into the world. In the same way that civilization is the heaviness to the point of inanimate that's finally liberated into its energy. Create the, the form in the energy as anything has something to flow through. So in the 4323, we've got melancholy, we have death and the weight and the life that's sitting there and the sprance. So let's create better structures. Then we go to the 1-4. When you're dealing with the 1-4, it's different. One of the dilemmas of the 1-4 is that it tends to look into the structure and that was giving it by its family environment. Remember that there's whole story about the 1-3 and the 1-4 children. The 1-3 child will challenge its parents. The 1-4 will not. It's not just a basic difference in them. And the 1-3 child is ready to see the faults and flaws and problems of the parent, and the 1-4 child doesn't want to. It's rather disturbing for them. So when you're dealing with this whole concept of the form, these are children that will say the best way to stay healthy is that you have porridge every morning. Remember, they're freaks and they can be very consistent. They say, well, you have porridge every morning, you eat Alpin every morning. That's the thing. And this is the thing that they will pass on because it's what they learned from their parents or they have a grandparent that's 102. And this is the way grandpa extended their life. Never, never, never underestimate how paranoid mutation hexagrams are about death. Death really frightens these people. And when you look at any other within yourself that is troubled by death, which is in fear of the consequences of a life, you're going to see that it's an attribute to it in this quarter. 4323 can be fixed with death as a concept. I know what they can be for me in their own process. This morbidity, morbid poetry that comes out of 4323s when they're young, the whole darkness about the form itself. What's the darkness about the form itself? Don't forget it.